next speaker, basically, it is a message from the President of Association of Prenatal and Perinatal Psychology and Health. It is going to be presented by Sandra Bardsley, who is past President of Association of Prenatal and Perinatal Psychology and Health. She has come all the way, taking her message, so we are getting the heart, we can feel the heart and pulse of the President.
Well, namaste to all of you. This is quite a wonderful experience for all of us to be here, representing APPPAH, the Association for Prenatal and Perinatal Psychology and Health. And I am the past president of APPPAH. Our wonderful current president was unable to be here, and so the board asked if I would give you some background about APPPAH. And I think it's important for you to know some of the things, because he's helping me, because I'm not very good at this, this particular part. So the first thing I want to show you is APPPAH is an organization that is very, very important in the world. And as you'll find out in this presentation, it's actually a global organization as well, and it started many, many years ago. The statement that's going around the logo is just a statement that was made by somebody that I thought was a really good statement. It says, "The secret of real change for humanity is changing how we come into life, into this world." And that's the truth. How we come into this world is what's really important. And APPPAH has done a marvelous job with that. I'm going to take you on a summary of trends and influences that have occurred. And we'll start back in the 1920s. This was done by our education director, Kate White. And it's very good because it is a quick overview. You can see that, let's see if I can work this thing. Yes. Back in the 1920s, Otto Rank was a young student devotee of Sigmund Freud. And it was before Freud had really developed his whole program of his belief system. But Otto Rank felt that birth had possibly some very negative things that were happening to the child. And Freud rather liked it at first. And then as he developed his program, it fell out of favor. And so back in the 1920s, psychoanalysis was quite different, and it did not really involve prenatal education. After Otto Rank was put out of favor, they didn't explore it anymore. But there were others like Winnicott and Reich and several others that kept this going. But nothing really developed strongly until about the 1960s. And in the 1960s and upward, groups, even like Manashakti, started really developing more. And we had people like Frank Lake and Stan Groff with his breath work, and Graham Ferrant and others who did a lot of leading information for us. But it really took hold in the 1980s. And that was a time when two gentlemen, one of them sitting right here, Dr. Verney, wrote a very special book called The Secret Life of the Unborn Child, which was revolutionary and has been published in over 25 countries right now. 27 countries now are really understanding that book more. And he's gone on, of course, to write, as you heard the other day, many, many articles. He's a prolific writer, and many books and lectures all around the world. He was giving a lecture about his book in San Diego, and another wonderful psychologist, Dr. David Chamberlain, was having experiences in which some of his people that he was working with were actually having flashbacks into the womb. And it was amazing to him that Dr. Verney had written about this, and he was so excited that the two of them met and formed an interest with one another and decided, it's too long a story to go through the whole thing, but they decided, because the American College of Psychology really wasn't interested in prenatal at that time, they decided, well, if they're not going to let us play in their field, we'll play in ours. So they started PANA, which was the Pre and Perinatal Psychology Association of North America, which later the name was changed to APPPAH, which is what you know as the Association for Prenatal and Perinatal Psychology and Health. So those two men have written a lot of books, and they went on to form wonderful opportunities for us to get together. And like I said, they formed their own playfield, which was their wonderful international congresses. And we invite you to those international congresses every 2 years as well. Then in the 1990s, the genome study, which you're going to have a wonderful opportunity to hear from Charan Sidar about some of that, but epigenetics came into play, and people used to think, back here in the 1980s, a lot of people thought that we were kind of crazy. I had a good fortune, and several others in the room from APPPAH had the good fortune of being back in that time, but they didn't think we were very scientific. But many wonderful scientists kept working and working, psychologists, sociologists, midwives, doctors, others kept this alive and kept working and working diligently. And then science started catching up. And I always like to say they started catching up with us. But epigenetics was formed. And now we have many different organizations, disciplines coming together to provide therapeutic and prevention approaches in prenatal and perinatal health and healing. So you have all these groups. What happened? I don't know. There it is. Back to it, one more. There. We have all these different groups that are studying epigenetics and neuroscience, attachment, somatic therapies, obstetrics, midwifery, gynecology, pediatrics, and all of you in rooms like this who are coming to be aware of what science is finally coming to really ground for us. And back in the early days, like I said, they really thought we were kind of way out there. And I remember my 15-year-old son coming into the kitchen one day and saying to me, there was a wonderful person who had written a book, Out on a Limb, and he said, "Mom, have you read that book, Out on a Limb?" And I said, "Yes, I have. Shirley MacLaine. And it's a very good book." And he said, "Well, I just want you to know, you're further out on a limb than she ever thought of going." But we just kept going because science has finally started to catch up. Now I can't make it go. Let's see. Come on. There we go. And so during all that time, Dr. Verney and Dr. Chamberlain started the Journal of Prenatal and Perinatal Psychology and Health. It's a cutting-edge research quarterly reviewed journal. And there's over 30 plus years of peer-reviewed research articles. And when you join APPPAH, there is at least one free article a month there, but there's also free articles to download if you are a member. If you aren't a member, you still have access to them, but you pay for them to download them. But that journal is absolutely vital. Another thing that you'll have when you come into APPPAH is we have what's called a pre and perinatal educator certificate program. Many of you people here in India have started wonderful programs and have utilized this particular education program to get your prenatal education. So it's an online course. It involves 11 modules, and it's quite a wonderful course. Again, our education person, Kate White, developed it. We have what is my favorite, which is the Monday Live series. We're on series 4 now. That means that every Monday morning in our country, and it's other times all over the world, people come on to listen to professionals speaking about different subjects. And it's quite exciting because those are recorded and available to you. Let's say that you're not available at the exact hour that they're speaking. You can still get those online, and it's available to you. But we have people like Bruce Lipton speaking, and Ray Castellino, and Dr. Verney, and other wonderful people are speaking. Wendy Ann McCarty, many, many wonderful ones. Another thing that's come up that I just really, really, really enjoy and encourage you all to look into is the toolkits for trends and influences in pre and perinatal education. It's our Conscious Baby program for parents and for practitioners. Many of you who are, for instance, obstetricians or midwives, don't have time. A lot of them say, we don't have time to take that really intensive pre and perinatal educator course. So Kate has gone busily ahead working on the trends and influences of PPN, and we are also with Rebecca, who's another person on that education team, working to incorporate it for parents, because a lot of the time we're talking about, okay, well, it's one thing to educate the professionals, but what about the parents? They're the ones who really need this education. It's one of the things that Mana Shakti, we have an award that's given for different things, and Mana Shakti has been coming to our APPA congresses for many years, and they won one of the awards just, I believe it was 2 years ago in 2015, several years ago, 2015 I think it was. Mana Shakti won because of the fact that they are really working to educate parents and about the unborn and newborn baby. The other thing that I wanted to tell you is most pre and perinatal education psychology is it's rooted in your body. It's somatic, and a lot of people don't understand how to reach that and how to help people process and get that out. The brain is very neuroplastic, and it's always able to heal, but you have to be able to get to it. You have to get to it, and it's through the body that you get to it. So again, Kate has developed a wonderful program about somatics and helping us understand a little bit more about how to ground ourselves as practitioners and how to help others work through their programs. So the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is APPA having gone global. It's actually gone global from the very beginning. Way back at the beginning, I can remember the team going to Poland and working with our sister group ISPPM, which is the International Society for Prenatal Education and Medicine, I believe it is. But we stand on what are called Sustainable Development Goals. You can read more about them. The Sustainable Development Goals are specific to helping to develop health and nutritional goals that are set for maternity and others by 2030. So we started first by working with the UN, and in 2014, Dr. Verney and his wife and also one of the other past presidents, Barbara Finn Dyson, we started reaching out to the UN. But it wasn't actually until 20, we actually started in 2015 working globally with several different countries and organizations on the early childhood development goals of the UN. And childhood and early parenting principles was one that we focused on because both ISPPM from Germany and us from the United States and Canada really wanted them to realize, people to realize that it doesn't begin at birth, it begins at conception. And so we really worked hard to get that in to the UN. And we were very fortunate to work with the organizations of Great Britain's 1001 Critical Days, and Make Mothers Matter from France, and ISPPM from Germany, and several groups. And we formed what's called the Childhood and Early Parenting Principles Manifesto. And we were able to take that to the UN in I believe it was, it was probably 2017, no, 2017, that we introduced that at the United Nations. And it was accepted, and we became part of, APPPAH became part of the Maternal Partnership for Maternal and Newborn and Child Health. As, yeah, thank you. Yeah, we were very excited to have that happen because it's doing what we're seeing all over the globe, such as we're seeing here today. APPPAH is our mission is to get this information out there for parents and for professionals, and it's happening. So like I said, SEPS went on then under the management of a wonderful CEO, Valérie Unite from France. She and her husband, John, went on to bring us closer and closer to the development in all the countries. Thank you. And so in this year, in May of 2018, in Geneva, Switzerland, at the UN, we, APPPAH, through SEPS and PMNCH, met with about 150 other major organizations around the globe to help in the World Health Organization's nurturing care format. So the last thing I want to say is what Thomas Verney quoted to us many years ago: womb ecology becomes world ecology. So I hope that you'll all join us and become a part of this worldwide movement. We're very grateful that Mana Shakti has put this on and has asked us to be with you on it. Thank you.